Now, your Alaska Link weather for Fairbanks and the interior.
We continue to slide our way here through the spring months as we are noting that we're technically more than halfway through spring, as spring includes the months of March, April, as well as May, as we are now on the countdown to the end of April. Now, what we have here so far for April is it's stayed on the active side, as we are noting that precipitation values are above normal there, as April's not typically a huge snow month for us, but we're noting that it's possible to get those snow systems. But we also know that we start to trend with more of those spring to summer like temperatures, with a big increase in the sun angle that we have, as we even note that our average temperature is about 3 to 4 degrees above normal. But what we will see in play here as we head into this week of April, which is technically our last full week of April, is next week we will transition into May. But we will note that we have some fair weather conditions all week. We will note that it's going to be paired up with mild temperatures, a range of the 40s to the 50s, not much for precipitation potential. We do see that overnight temperatures do still fall into that freeze up potential, so we're in this cycle of potentially thawing and freezing out day in and day out. But we will note that we're getting into that time of the year where we're going to start to continue to pull away from those temperatures, but we still have some strides to make. Now, we average a high of 52, which we're not far off from that for our Tuesday, but we still know that the average low is 26, so we're still a few degrees off from that 32-degree threshold. But in the coming weeks, we get closer to that point and then even see the limited threat for those overnight potential. But we also know with this type of trend, with the freeze thaw, that thaw is also allowing for snow melt. So we're talking about losing a lot of our snowpack. Now, we're not seeing much really additions to it as well, but we will see that we'll have some gaps of some sunshine in play largely through this week. But there are these little instances of trying to bring some moisture in to the interior. Now, a lot of that's building over more of those higher elevation areas with some cloud cover. So really overall, very minor inconveniences, but that may bring sometimes of that passing cloud. And may see a little snowflake or maybe a little raindrop develop from time to time, but little to no impacts in place. 16 hours and 4 minutes of daylight for our Tuesday. 5:47 is our sunrise and 9:51 is the sunset. We'll note that much of the interior here is holding on to that mild feel. Now, note that the average of 52 is around for this time of the year, so even sitting technically into the mid upper 40s is slightly cooler than normal. Now into our Wednesday, we'll continue to show that this is going to be the one day that we have a little bit of a pullback in our temperatures, noting more of those 30s around. But overall, from this point on, we note that much of the week is going to be quieter. The one highlight that we will have for Wednesdays, we can see in Nana as well as Fairbanks does show some of those stronger winds even seen there through Chena Hot Springs. A little breezy for Wednesday, aiding into that little bit of that pullback, but then it's all about the pleasant times of that sunshine. As we knew, there's a pretty strong trend of pulling in more of those widespread 50s at least by this weekend.